Today's cardinal lesson is talking about the coming storm of custodial care. And say, what are you talking about, a coming storm? Well, there's lots of storms coming when we're doing retirement planning. I mean, when we're sitting down with couples or individuals and planning out the next 30 years of retirement, and specifically planning out their lifestyle and their money, we got to concern ourselves with inflation, what the markets are going to do, what their need for income is going to be, what their health care costs. We got all kinds of storms coming. And most people are aware of those, and then we get them to prioritize and tell us what is most important to them. And with most people, they got to deal with all of them. There's one that people don't generally bring up to us. Sometimes they do after they've watched one of these videos, and that's the coming storm of custodial care. And by that I mean help with just going about your day-to-day when you've become older and you're frail, or perhaps you've developed dementia or Alzheimer's, you've had a stroke, where the things that you take for granted now, you need help with. You need human assistance with somebody to help you get a bath, get dressed, get your meals, get on about your day. And the good news here is this stuff is available at home now. That's more and more people are not going to nursing homes and assisted living. They're getting the care that they need right in their home. And I have my personal plan set up for long-term care. I'm all about home health care. Now, there are some situations and there are some people who want to go to an assisted living, or there's situations, and it may happen to me, where I'm going to be cared for at home for some period of time, and then I'm later going to need to go to an assisted living. And we're not really talking about that today. What I'm talking about specifically is the need for this kind of thing, and the financial planning that's necessary and the preparation, so that if this happens to you, and by that I mean you need help with the basic stuff about going about your day, and this help is needed possibly for years, how are you going to pay for it? Where's the money going to come from? Who's going to provide the care? And when we talk about effect, I was just talking to one of the young ladies that helps me with these. She was talking about her grandmother and a lot of things around her situation. And she's in an assisted living facility right now. And the biggest effect has been on her grandmother's sister, or her great aunt, and her mom's cousins, and then her mom herself, is the family members that are around these people, or in your situation, the family members, your family that's going to be around you, caring for you, they're going to bear the brunt of this thing, even more so than actually you yourself, because you're going to be the patient or the person being cared for. So what today's video is about is the who, the where, the what, the when, and the why of just walking through this whole issue of custodial care. And I've used the term custodial care because I think it provides a better definition of what we're really talking about here. Typically we're talking about long-term care, and in my books I talk about long-term care, the industry talks about long-term care, and that covers such a wide area, and it includes skilled care, intermediate care, and custodial care. And skilled care and intermediate care, what we're talking about there is you have an actual professional, a nurse, a doctor, a physician's assistant, a therapist. They're performing medical care, providing medical care for you. Now, along with that, you may be getting custodial care. You may be getting help with a bath and helping with transferring and helping with going about your day in the facility that they're doing that. But it's still, you're labeled as skilled care, and for skilled care and intermediate care, Medicare does a pretty good job. And it goes on typically for weeks or months, not years. And the thing that we need to think seriously about ensuring, and we need to prepare for the storm that's coming, is the need for custodial care that is still professional people, but it's more like an aide, somebody that's been through a 6-week course in how to care for people with dementia. Okay, somebody who's trained and educated and paid to do that. And in today's economy, people have trouble hiring people for any job, let alone to provide care in people's homes. So what that means is it's going to get more expensive because these people are going to have to be paid more. Regardless, you know, I personally have insurance that I've set up about 10 years ago that is going to insure me, so I'm going to have the choice to stay at home. Because when I'm getting this stuff, I want to have a lot of choice about who's doing it. I'm not as concerned about what we're paying them because I have insurance for it, but really where I'm getting it, you know, who's doing the care, what they're doing for me, what my ability, if I don't like the care they're doing for me or my wife doesn't like that, are we able to change them out and get different people? So the coming storm that I want you to prepare for and I want you to think about is, in terms of your retirement planning, is am I prepared if this happens to me? Do I have a plan in place of knowing exactly what I'm going to do? Now, the insurance industry, of which I've been a part of for many, many years, they throw around this statistic, and my guess is you've heard it before, is that 7 in 10 people who are 65 years old today are going to need some level of long-term care. And they've used that, and that's just been repeated and repeated when you read articles about this. And my sense of that is that's way overstating the problem. If this was really true, if 7 of 10 people were actually going to need these long-term care insurance policies or custodial care insurance policies and need them so they pay out a substantial amount, the insurance companies couldn't afford to sell them. And so what I'm going to tell you is, when you break it down to custodial care, which is what people get over a long period of time and what they need, it's much less than these numbers, and it's a very insurable risk. It's a very possible thing for an insurance company to take a large pool of people, collect money from them, and then to only pay out to the people that need the specific event, like fire insurance on your home or car insurance. Is if it only happens to a limited number of people, all the people can pay into a pool. So I don't need to get in too deep into the insurance principle. I just want to get clear that a lot of the statistics that have been used, in my opinion, are outdated and they didn't really represent the problem or the risk as clearly as they should. And so what I want to do is just tell you that the probability is reasonable, but not as high as you've thought. But when you're doing retirement planning, as we do for people all the time, this isn't brought up unless I bring it up. And so when you come into my organization and I'm doing retirement planning for you, financial planning, and we're looking at your IRA and we're looking at your Social Security, helping you make decisions, and we're planning out health care with Medicare and supplemental insurance, and we're planning out your estate and doing all of that kind of thing, we're going to have a discussion about long-term care. And because if this happens, the consequences to you, but more importantly to your family, are huge. And so it's something you need to be prepared for. Now, when it comes to the caregivers, is who's really given this care now to people in America? And most people don't have this kind of insurance, and they don't have a plan in place. And what happens when they get sick and they need custodial care, guess who does it? It's their spouse or their family members. They're the ones that provide the care. And if it's a short period of time, this has a big cost and a big toll on the family. But, you know, I did it for my mother, and people are going to, I mean, that's what families do, is we come in and we take care of people. The problem comes in when this goes on for a long period of time, and it's very disruptive in people's lives, even a spouse. And so what I think is the better alternative is to have a plan in place so that we can hire paid caregivers, where we can hire paid, trained caregivers to come in, maybe not 24 hours a day, maybe more like 4 hours a day, 6 hours a day, and do the heavy lifting, do the basic stuff. That gives the spouse or the family a break so they can go live their lives and do some activities, get away from the caregiving. And, you know, even when this paid care is in there, the family still bears the brunt of this. And what we're able to do is we're able to keep the patient, which might be you, at home. So now we go through and we talk about, you know, retired adult children still caring for their parents. We find this all the time. I mean, the typical person coming into us and doing retirement planning, or we're doing it through the Zoom with people around the country, they sit down with us and they're in their 60s. I mean, just our typical person, early 60s, mid 60s, late 60s, early 70s. And I can't tell you the number of these people that are caring for one of their parents. So they got somebody that's made it to 90 or 95 or 88 or 85, and they're still caring for them, where yet they're grandparents themselves and they're planning out their retirement. Those people usually bring up long-term care to me. Now, these retired adult children, they a lot of times are caring for their grandkids too. I mean, because their kids are working. A lot of them, I live in the Raleigh-Durham Triangle area here. We have just a big migration because we've got the 40-year-old, the 30-year-old, the 50-year-old people here working in all these research companies and that kind of thing, and their parents are relocating when they're retired, and their grandparents many times are coming with them. So you see all these generations of the family, and the oldest people are receiving this. And what I want to impress upon is that next generation, or the people in their 60s, to really do the planning. Now, this term has come to me just recently, the whole idea of an elder orphan. And I have lots of people that fit in this category because we're always setting up people to do a power of attorney. So we need a healthcare power of attorney, and we need a regular power of attorney so that when our clients get older, that they have somebody that can sign for them, make the decisions, make the healthcare decisions. And there are a whole bunch of people that have trouble putting somebody down because they don't have anybody in the area, they don't have a son or daughter, because you need somebody younger than you. And what this elder orphan is that no readily available caregivers, and they defined it as somebody within 10 miles. And that covers a lot of people in America. These people especially need to have a plan in place. Like if you don't have somebody that's just going to show up in 30 minutes when you're sick, you better start lining somebody up, because when this happens, it happens all of a sudden, you're going to need somebody. A final point that I wanted to leave people with is just this whole idea of people that are in excellent health in their 60s. I mean, most of the people that come into us with retirement planning, they're wanting to plan out travel, golf, time with their grandchildren. They're all going and working out, eating properly, and they're in really good health. And a lot of times they'll say, oh, we don't need to worry about long-term care. We're the healthy people. We're doing the stuff right. What I'm going to tell them is you're the exact people that need to look at this stuff. Because if you are in such great health, you're the people that are going to make it to 85 or 90. And so when I look at the people, when I was in there with my mother and going around and look, a lot of those people were in very good health, and what they had and developed when they got into their 90s was dementia. And people with dementia, this is the kind of care they need. They don't really need medical and skilled care. So as I'm walking away, just suffice it to say, I haven't talked much or any at all about solutions for this. And just suffice it to say that we have a multitude of financial solutions that are going to pay the bill for long-term care and custodial care specifically if this happens to you. So today was all about teaching you about the problem. The solution to the problem, we're going to save that for another video, or if you want to just give me a call, we can talk to you about it. I'm Hans Scheil, and I thank you for listening.